Hello, hello. I'm back with another book review today. I'm still wearing the lip combo from my last video. As a matter of fact, today I have no makeup on, just a little bit of kajal and this lip oil, and I totally feel that it looks bomb. Even without any makeup on my face, I look pretty good, and this is what I need at the end of a busy day. Not be fully in makeup before I have to retire for bed. But before I go, before I say goodnight, I'm here to talk about a very special book today, and this is a book that I have read many years ago. When I say many, probably it's been 10 years of me reading this book for the first time. It is still fresh as yesterday in my memory. And that is how I know this book is very special for me. It's also a very long, thick, big book. And I am not a very good big book reader. I actually go for short reads because I can be a little impatient at times. But the number of big books that I have read in my lifetime, I have thoroughly cherished them. It feels like I'm going on a journey and I remember them more. I try to take them more because you have to slow yourself down when you are reading any big book. And so it goes, so the tale goes. This book is also very special because I first got the copy of this book from my now husband, then boyfriend. And this book was very special, is very special to him because it was a copy of someone very close to him, and he gave the copy to me and I was able to read that copy, and it still is in our household. And when I found it in my bookshelf, in our bookshelf, I couldn't help myself reach out for it and talk about it today. So the book that I'm going to talk about today is The Shantaram by Gregory David Roberts. This is a very big book, as you can say, so I have a lot to say about it. But before we get into it, I want to know from you people, what is a big book that you still remember and it has taken you by storm. It is something that is so fresh in your memory. You absolutely loved it. We need more people who read big books, including me. So please recommend me some big books or the books that you have enjoyed in your lifetime and they have stayed with you. Without further ado, let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Pooja at A Book by the Window. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are reading good. So this book, Shantaram, that we are talking about today, it is a cult classic. Some people might know about it already or some might not be aware of it, but it has a reputation of a kind. Reputation of either people loving it to ends and raving about it and literally imbibing some of the things, looking at their lives through the eyes of the author as he's going through his journey. Or some people found it overly dramatized. They don't like how the protagonist goes on about his life. And after reading 900 pages of it, I get both the viewpoints. I understand why some people might like it so much and why some people might not like it so much. But this book definitely has a reputation. To talk about the book, the author Gregory David Roberts is an Australian author, and this book is largely autobiographical. This man is a convicted armed robber. He escaped a minimum security prison in Australia. He gets a fake passport, and because he has nowhere to go, he lands in Bombay or Mumbai. This is the early 1980s. He gets pulled into running shady clinics in the slum. He goes on to also discover the underbelly of the underworld. He works with the mafia, went to Afghanistan during the Soviet War, and that is when, after all of it was done, he wrote this book. So yes, as you can see, the source material is quite extraordinary, but does 900 pages of it do justice to the substance that it holds? We're going to talk about the writing of the book because this is probably the most divisive thing about Shantaram, and I want to give it a fair look. Robert writes in this very cinematic, immersive style, and when it works, it really works. His description of Bombay is very vivid, very full of colors, full of life. The Crawford Market, the Colaba streets, the rain flooding, the chaos and the colors of the city in the 1980s. When he's in that mode, you're also there with him. It is a full-on sensory experience through the words. When you're there, you can smell the street food, you can hear the traffic, you can feel the heat. It is like you are there with him. And this is why the writing is very important. Mumbai or Bombay is just not a backdrop to the story. It truly is a character in itself. It has its personality, it has its mood, and it really responds to what is happening around. For anyone, as a matter of fact, for a lot of you who has known the city or are minutely curious about the city, this fact that Mumbai or Bombay is portrayed in such a vivid light is alone justification for you to pick up the book. Now, where the problems start. I feel the author has a problem with over philosophizing everything in the content or how he's writing his own story. Almost every emotional movement of the book is followed by a long paragraph, sometimes even the whole page, about how this is about destiny, freedom, love, and fate. And it gets repetitive or over dramatized after a while. Some of it lands very beautifully, while some of it feels like this is coming from someone who has just discovered philosophy at the age of 22 and they are making the most use of it. Personally, I feel that the writing has a lot of highs. The story is really dynamic. The characters are really dynamic, and the city itself, against which the story is going, is also very dynamic, really fun and exciting. But it also has some parts where you will find yourself skimming through the book, and that is the honest truth. I'm going to give you the honest truth here. Talking about the highlights of the book. What genuinely works in this book? The Bombay slum section, easily the strongest part of the book. Lynn, who is our protagonist, ends up living in the slums in Bombay, and Robert writes about that world with so much intensity, so much warmth and passion that it becomes the core part of the book. The community that he builds feels very earned. The relationships feels very real. There is a character called Prabhakar who becomes Lynn's guide through his journey, and having read so many characters in my life, I found that character genuinely warm, genuinely one of the best characters that has been written in fiction. The friendship between Lynn and Prabhakar is what holds the story very strongly, and it becomes one of my favorite part about the book. The Bombay underworld is also a very important part of the story. Kader Khan, the underworld mafia that Lynn ends up working for, is also a very fascinating figure. He's not your typical villain. He is educated, he is knowledgeable, almost paternal at some points. Robert builds him into this very morally complex person who you are never entirely sure about. And that ambiguity throughout makes his story very interesting and his character also very interesting. The pacing in the first half is also very fast. It is very hard for you to put down the book, although it is a very thick book. The story keeps on moving. There is a new world, new characters, new twists and turns, so many things to explore. The first 400 pages have a really good momentum to them. Now talking about the lowlights of the book, the things that did not work. I want to be brutally honest here because I feel a lot of reviews either glosses over it or overcorrect into full dismissal. Lynn as a narrator is sometimes exhausting. He has a tendency to present himself as uniquely perspective, like he sees things differently, like he sees things that other people cannot, like he understands things differently from others. And look, I understand that this man has a lot of different and unique experiences, but sometimes the way these experiences and perceptions are written, they come across as overly congratulating the protagonist himself. Apparently, he is the only person in the room who understands what is happening. Every woman he meets is drawn to him. Every old wise figure immediately recognizes that there is something special about him. It is a pattern that gets hard to ignore as the book goes on. I also felt that the second half loses a lot of steam. Once the story moves away from Bombay and Lynn's life in the slum, it becomes more sporadic and scattered. The Afghanistan section in particular, which could have been so much more exciting, so much more enriching to the story, ends up being totally disconnected to the first part of Lynn's story, and we feel that both of them are not connected at all, and Lynn should have felt truly out of place in a new world, but I couldn't connect the dots how his thinking of what he learned in slums applied to his time in Afghanistan. And I already said that sometimes the philosophical monologues become tedious after the third and fourth time. You are waiting for the plot to unfold. You are really held on to the story and you don't want to listen to how this is some twist of fate and how there is a lesson to be learned at the end of it all. You're really here for the plot. So, what is my final review of the book? I personally really love this book because I read it at a time when I was in need of this book and it has stayed with me. It has motivated me. It is a saga in itself. It also led me to read such a thick book at a time when I wasn't reading that much. So, it got me into reading in a way. It got me into reading big books. So, I am personally biased towards it because I want people to read good books, big books, and this is definitely one of the books that fit into that category. But I would still state my honest opinion. The story sometimes is scattered, it is all over the place, it is sporadic, and it might not be as structured as one would want it. But if you go with the understanding that you're reading something that is flawed, ambitious, occasionally brilliant memoir novel, something that is trying to capture an entire city, an entire era, an entire life, then there's real reward there. The Bombay that Robert builds, the emotions at the heart of it all, and the sheer scale of what he's trying to do totally make it worth your time. Just maybe be prepared to skim a few of the philosophical tangents. And I will leave you with this. One of the lines from the book says, "Sometimes we love with nothing more than hope. Sometimes we cry with everything except tears." So that is Shantaram for you. It is messy, it is overdrawn, it is deeply human and in bits and pieces and a lot of places truly devastating. If you're someone who have already read the book, do let me know in the comment section below what are your honest thoughts about the book. Do you agree to what I said just now or you have a different opinion? I'm always open to discussion in the comments below. We're going to have a gala party discussing this book. Or if you're someone who has been looking forward to reading this book but haven't read it, haven't picked this one up yet, would you do it after this review? Do let me know in the comment section below. And before I go, I'm going to remind you to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I talk about books here a lot and you are in for a fun ride if you stay here. I will take a leave for today. I will see you guys next time. Until then, happy reading.